Well, good morning, guys. I finished this running board yesterday. I spent quite a bit of this morning getting this one mocked up and in place. I've got 3 bolts out of the brace, so I have to get under there and fix those. I've got one here, so it'll push up. It needs to be welded in. I got one there in the middle, and I got one back there and back. Now it don't look like it's level, but the fender and the running board are straight. So that's where I need to mount it. So I'm going to get in here and weld my bolts in, figure out spacers, and then I gotta do the same thing to the splash panel. And by the same thing, I mean I gotta mount these brackets. And one in the back, a little one in the front, one here in the middle. Now I've worked on this before and I've cut out everything so it'll raise up. Looks like I might have missed a little right there. Maybe not. But I'm pretty sure this splash panel is going to have to go up some. Looks like my bolt holes are matching there, but again I can't use those anymore. I could have figured out some way of threading that, but I didn't know that those holes were even going to be that close. So anyway, I'll try to get this splash panel up as high as I can and get the brackets marked, and I'll do the same thing. I'll weld an angle on it at the bottom, cut them off. In fact, I think I might this time put that angle on it and tack it so I know it'll be in the right place, and then cut them off. Anyway, press along. Well, I got this panel done and painted yesterday. It's probably got some dents in it, but I got plenty of paint on it, and I made a patch there where it was all ugly cut out. I still have to cut this out to go around that mount, but I welded it up pretty good, and I should be good there. I still need to drill a hole in it and thread it. I got these brackets cut off. This one, the actual bracket came loose from the fender. I couldn't really get it that straight, but I clamped it and welded it good. So this is the front bracket, and I got those other 2 cut off, and I welded a nut. You can see that bolt sticking up in there. There's a nut welded on the bottom of all 3 of these. So that bracket's good enough. I wanted to paint this frame yesterday. I didn't. Maybe I'll do that today before I try to put any of this back together. But So far so good. I put some bolts on this floorboard here and welded them in so the floorboard's going to fit. So I don't know what I'm going to do here. Basically, I need to flip this over now and get some of this dentage out of it. This has been rust converted. I've got all of the brakes in it fixed, so it all mounts on where it's supposed to. Up here on the end, I've got the one bolt that I drilled and threaded. This had a big gap in it right here, and I want this whole section here to look real good. So that's the front top part of that. So basically, I've got it where it should bolt on and be straight. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and take this fender off of here, finish up my frame, drill and tap another hole in it, and then just continue with what I was trying to do yesterday, and that's get the rest of this whole frame painted here. It's been painted on the inside, got a lot of dirt and stuff here, but I need to do that, and I probably ought to drill these mounts in here for a bolt. I've got a 1/4 inch hard rubber mount in there, but I don't have bolts drilled through to bolt this thing down on the frame, and I don't want to try to put wet paint on it and then be doing these bolts. So I think that's what I'll do, is drill, and this one here did not have to be that important. Just got to go through all this. I've got a double angle iron here because when I first designed it with this 2-inch piece in here, that's where I thought it was going to go, but I had to put another inch in it in order to space this whole cab and everything out so it would be straight. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my motor mounts or my body mounts here, and finish up that splash panel, and then I'll go ahead and paint this frame. And while the frame's drying, I'll throw a little Bondo on the splash panel, and I'll have to take this fender off. We'll just get this all ready for the frame paint, and should be fairly warm today, so by the end of the day I should be able to bolt some of this back on. Well, I got this on. I got all my brackets in it, but I'm just looking at this. You know, I can clean it up where it looks pretty good, but you can see it's like a 1/2 inch off the frame there, off the inside of the frame. And over here on this side, I kind of made this one. You can see I put a good round piece in there and trimmed it right to the edge of the frame, made it nice and round. This actually looks good. And this other one looks pretty butchered. It's not really as wide as the frame, and I kind of hate to redo that whole thing in there. I don't know, I'll think about that. Maybe I'll just cut that whole thing off of there and make another plate. Now this took some doing. Pulled the headers and the steering off here, and got down in here and was able to plasma cut most of this off. It's been glarped up down there and filled with Bondo. I protected my line there with a rag, but I've got it pretty close. Right now to this frame, there's nothing here on this plate that's structural. It was part of the motor mount. They didn't cut into the 2x frame. I'm just going to try to reach in here with a cut-off tool and see how much of this can get off. Some of it's cut off already. It's just slag laying there. I'll try to chisel some of this out and see what I do have. Cut off the rest, and I'll just try to fix this big old nasty hole here with Bondo. Like I say, it's nothing structural. See what happens. Well, I got this frame all roughed out here with Bondo and 40 grit. I don't know if you can see in the back here. It's not the best, but I can't really see, and I can just feel with my fingers. Probably do a little more sanding on it, but this is never going to be seen unless somebody's underneath it on a lift or something. But I'm just trying to get it a little better. I'm not really gonna get too carried away back here. This outside part is really the only thing I'm concerned about. I'll get this all fixed up. Man, I hope that ain't a bolt hole I filled up there. Don't think so. I got one up here and one here. Oh yeah, no, there's the other one there. Alright, good. Put a lot of trouble to drill those things in there and tap them, and then just fill them up with Bondo. It's kind of a waste of time. Anyway, I can finish this up with machines and get this whole front here ready to go. This splash panel looks like it's alright. I decided I'd just leave it alone. I'm not going to try to bother rebuilding all that stuff in there. You'd have to go from one side to another and compare and know what you're looking for to find it. So the splash panel will work, and I can, now I got that piece cut out of there, I can move on with making all this section nice. Press on. Well, I got this frame bondoed up. sanded, get it all clean real good all the way back. My brackets are good. It all looks pretty good. I'm not gonna really worry a whole lot about this because the fender is gonna cover up everything except for this little place right here on top, and all of the side will be covered. But it's good enough to get some Rust-Oleum on it, get it protected. It'll dry overnight. I worked on my little splash panel here some more. I need to put one more coat of Bondo on it, and that you will see. So that'll be good. I glassed up the inside of that fender there where it mounts to the frame. Need a little more work on it, but this will get this frame here fixed up. So anyway, I was trying to find these brake fittings have some kind of a big nut that go on them. I don't know what to call them. I look for brake nuts and eBay, and I get all kinds of little stuff and clips and this and that, but there must be a name for these. I got some clips. They won't work. They're too small. I could cut them out, but I was just hoping I could, maybe one of you guys know what you call them. They're not brake nuts. They come up with fittings with that search. Well, I painted the frame here. It's still kind of wet. You can see that's why it's shiny. But I did it all the way back as far as I could reach. Got it all the way up in there. Did it across this cross members here, and much of the back as I could reach. Looked like I could put some more in there, but it looks pretty good. It'll look better once it's dry. It's awfully blotchy right now. But anyway, the frame is done finally again. The door not closing right, but looks pretty good. This thing I spent all morning on cutting off, sanding up. See it there, but it's nice and clean comparatively. These all this side turned out good. I still got some more to do. I did all this with a brush. I think all this back part here, I'll probably do it with a spray gun. And whatever's left in here I'll do with a spray gun. So we'll let this dry, and I can start putting stuff back on it. Well, a new thing came today. This is a 2" by 1/8 sticky back rubber. I don't know, 10 or 15 feet, a lot of it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this tank out and use this neoprene in here to insulate that tank. get it mounted, and I'll probably put a few strips in there too on the battery. We got lots of it, so I may check it out and see how it works on sealing the doors, because I don't have much gap in there. Anyway, I got it for this tank, so I'll put that in, and I got my little 8 to 6 AN adapter, and I put that on there and closed the tank, closed the trunk. It clears all right. So now I can kind of move forward on mocking up the gas line. Well, I'm gonna try to put some of this tape in here, get this gas tank sorted out. This frame turned out super nice, all nice and black, all straight and smooth. Running boards are ready, but I want to get this done and just see how it's going to work. And I need to make a mount for the top of this. Well, there's a result of that. Got a couple pieces of 3-inch angle iron, and then I bent a piece of 18 gauge, so it's going up into here somewhere. I'm going to put a bolt on both sides of it. I left a little room in here for the rubber. That should mount it pretty solid. And if I have to put a double piece of rubber in there, I will, but I measured it pretty good. I don't think so. I think once I get it in there and bolted, it'll be pretty solid. It might have a little up and down in it, but I'm not too worried about that. You know, it's 10 gallons of gas, and it'd be 40 or 50 pounds. It'd be kind of hard for it to bounce up. So, drill me some holes, put some bolts in it, and dig it out of there and see what I can do about painting it. Well, that looks pretty good. It's solid as a rock. It ain't going nowhere. I put I glued the rubber, I put the glue side on the tank. So I had to cut it off just a little in there. Made that bracket a little too long. But I got 2 bolts in it. And it clamped down good, pulled in tight. So you can see it might have a little wiggle in it, but the twist will be kept out of the bottom. Basically, the only thing, I could have probably done it with just this corner, but it's way solid, plenty good for a gas tank. And now the tank is completely insulated. There's nothing touching anywhere metal to metal. It's all rubber, which means I gotta run a ground to it. But gonna be no vibration deals. I can take that bracket off and paint it whatever color. I just happen to have some spray paint and wanted to put it on there for now. Probably ought to spray paint silver or something, kind of match that aluminum. And it's bolted pretty good here in the back. It's into an 1/8 inch plate that I had welded across there to brace that, so I'm sure that's strong enough. Well, I'm moving on to pure grunt work. I got to take this transmission out and go through it, clean it up, try to rebuild it, do what I can. I don't know anything about them, but anyway, I know I got to do it, and I don't have a torque converter in it anyway, so I'm at the point where I could be moving on and starting this motor. You know, I've got gas tank and battery, and then I run some lines, and then I have a few wires, and but anyway, it's just kind of useless to do that stuff, and then fool around with it and try to pull it out. So I'm going to yank it out. I'm hoping that I can set this motor down. These motor mounts are loose. Set it down on a block on the pan. I think this will pull out far enough to get that done. I'll unbolt all my mounts here. They're real close and real tight, but I'll get that down, and hopefully this will tilt down far enough that I can pry it off of the motor. I'll put a block or something under it so it won't fall. Just pry this off of the motor and set it down, and then last time the way I got it in was I set it in from the top, and I was able to hook up some stuff up in here, and ratchet straps and some other stuff. It's got to go up about 6 or 7 inches here on one side in order to get that transmission under the frame. So I may do the same thing once I get it out. I mean, pull it over here and just we'll see. Getting it all the way out's one thing, and getting it ready to come out's another. But I think I'll be good there. I got it all cleaned up there so I can get a jack and everything under it. I'll loosen up my mounts and block up that motor and put her down on blocks and see if I can get it off of the bell housing. Well, this transmission come out real easy. As you can imagine, 3-4 bolts in it, and I just put a jack under it and did a little wiggling and prying, and it fell right out. But here comes the problem. Excuse me. Here they got to jack that frame up 6 or 7 inches to get that transmission under it. Or get it up above and out the door. And I really hate to jack it up that high with it sitting on jack stands. I mean, they're probably be okay. You know, 20 years ago, I could just reach in there and lift it out. I could probably still do it now. But then I have the problem of getting it down onto the floor. And I could hook up a ratchet strap or something in there and lift it up. So either got to lift it up about a foot. I'm going to try jacking it up under that traction bar area. It's pretty stable, I don't know, and it's got tires on both sides of it, so it shouldn't slide. We'll try it and see. I tried jacking that up, and the jack stand was wanting to tip over, and I was still 4 inches away. So I just got down in there and poured the Cheerios to it. Got one end up, and then I was able to pick up the back, get it in. Now I've got to get it down on the floor. It might be fun. I think I probably let it slide on that frame there. Probably hit that fender brace first. Maybe I ought to put a board or something across there. Be so nice if I had something up there just to hook it up to it and swing it out, but I don't. Sit down and rest a minute and give it a think. Well, I'm going to try this. Never have before, but that transmission's a lot less lighter than a motor. And I think I can get it up far enough to get it started in the hole here. I got 2 good bolts through the top, 2 that are fairly good in the bottom. I'm not really worried about those bottom ones too much. I think those are pan bolts. But the 2 top ones are plenty strong. Hope. Anyway, shouldn't be too hard to pull it up 3 or 4 inches and get it started. I'll lubricate it a little, save myself some trouble. If I can get it started, then I can block it here and worry it on. Well, that actually worked pretty good. Yeah, got it on there, not too much trouble. I was able to stand here and put my foot in front of it so it wouldn't roll back. Pick it up and push it into that thing there. Now I can get out here to my kick down that's torn loose, take that apart, see what's wrong with that. And I've got another Mopar 727 there. I'm pretty sure the valve body and everything will be the same if there's something bad in it. I've watched quite a few videos on how to rebuild these things. The tailpiece comes off pretty easy. It's got 4 bolts and a clip in it. And then you gotta unhook the rods from under the valve body. But I got a feeling that there's obviously something wrong here. It was kind of locked. I pounded around on it and stuff. I managed to get it to turn, but I think it just stripped something in there. That bracket probably. So anyway, I'm going to try to take that off right now. And kind of tired, but I really would like to know what's going on with that. Well, the lid came off pretty easy. It's got quite a bit of dirt and stuff in here. A little bit of trash in the pan. Really, that's not too bad. It's got some see a little bit of rust right in there. This one here, I believe, is the shift. Probably where that switch goes is the neutral switch. It's got a little junk in it. A little rust, a little dirt. Don't look too bad, actually. That filter just full of rust. Had some water in it at one point, but I don't see any rust up in there on the steels or anything. Clutch bands, just some right out here on the outside. Most likely this thing would have run. There's a clip underneath that right there. Under that rusty plate. That's what holds the tailpiece on. And park pawl is in there. But I got a new kit, so it looks to me like if I clean it up good, blow it out, make sure all of the passageways are clear. There's ways, I think you hit this one here with air and that'll cause that servo to move. Probably that one there is probably for the back servo. That's, you put a gauge on there and go drive it, and it's supposed to have so much pressure. And here's one of the ends. Yeah, I'll have to blow all this out. But from what I understand, these are pretty bulletproof. I don't think I'm going to take this down to that seal. I might press a new steel in it. I never really rebuilt the transmission, so looks like the tail shaft. There's a speedometer gear. Don't have one in this, but I've got one in the other one. So anyway, this shouldn't be too bad, and it'll be a little bit more interesting content. You can come along with me and find out how this thing's gonna go. I think I'll bite the bullet and buy a brand new torque converter. I've got one, it's used, but every transmission guy I ever talked to said, put a new torque converter in it. Yeah, it's probably alright. Got it out of a junkyard, so there's no telling what was in it. And this is going to be quite a bit of work to pull it out and redo it, so I might as well just save myself some future work and money and put a new torque converter in it. Anyway, like and subscribe, guys. YouTube finally monetized my channel, so might see a few ads. I'm not asking you to click on them or anything if you're not interested, but it'll be good. It's taken me 5 years or so to get to this point, so I sure appreciate you hitting that like button and tell a friend or make a comment. It all helps the YouTube algorithm. So this next project is going to be this 727 Mopar transmission.